You are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact, and more revenue in your business. Tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Christine Campbell-Rappin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Welcome back. I am really excited to bring this conversation to you today. The world of AI and copyright is a really exciting thing for all of us in the world of business. However, there are important things that you need to know, and that's what we're going to be covering today. And I'm really excited to introduce to you, if you do not already know, my friend, Barb Gracia. She is an amazing human being. She is a copyright expert. She is a strategist in the world of keeping your gold safe. Barb, welcome to our show. I'm really excited to have you as our guest today.
Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me, Christine.
My absolute pleasure. I want to start with the very beginning of ChatGPT, copyright law. Where's the magic and where's the mystery, and how do we even prepare ourselves to maximize and minimize the risks?
Well, yes. I mean, all was going along smoothly or whatever until the end of November 2022. And then boom, ChatGPT was released on the world, and consumers, ordinary folks like you and me, could access all these powers. And people just climbed on, and one of the fastest growing platforms, applications ever. And so, yeah, I mean, it seems like magic, all of these AI onlines. Wonderful results in a matter of seconds. And, well, it's like really a new frontier, the new Wild West. And we don't really know how to be reacting to it, using it. We're getting the magic answers. And every magician has something up their sleeve to distract us from how they're really doing the magic. And so that's my goal, for us to be informed of the magic and then some of the mysteries that are going on behind the scenes. To know the pros and the cons, and to be able to make informed decisions. It's like drug ads on TV, you know, this drug does this, blah, 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 blah. And then the side effects are longer.
It often really can intimidate you off that, wow, I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Right.
And that's what I think is interesting, because, you know, it's not that long. Like, you think about November 22 as the kickoff, and the world went crazy. And AI, for every business owner, just so we're clear, you need to equip yourself with knowledge, whether you choose to use it or not. And if you do choose to use it, I think there's going to be some amazing ways to shorten it. But please remember, you're here listening to this podcast, which is about amplifying your marketing message. ChatGPT, you and I are both not going to get that right. ChatGPT are what is a look in the rear view mirror. It is aggregating data that's not particularly current, and it is going to be dangerous to rely on it to define your voice, because your voice is what matters most in the marketplace. And I always tell my clients, I want you to be commenting on the future you're creating. Stop regurgitating the history that's behind you. So you've been in this world, frontier land, for a while, and I want to know, what have you discovered as maybe a best practice or something to be aware of, and as it does continue to evolve? Because even if we say it today, it could be totally different tomorrow. But yes, where do we start with best practices?
Well, we know that the toothpaste is out of the tube. So as you say, we have to be ready to deal with it, whatever it is. And there have been a number of court cases filed. We don't know how those are going to come out for months, maybe years. The questions are, Is the scraping that was done to train the bot legal? It scraped indiscriminately copyrighted works, public domain works, pirated works. And what are we to make of that? Is it okay to use that? Are the results that we get reliable? That's one of the dangers. Chat GPT likes to make up answers, sort of called hallucinating.
And it's got some amazing biases. That much I've already seen. I'm like, wow, is that ever biased?
Exactly. And so we do not want to just take what it gives us and run with it. We need to use good, careful, critical judgment skills, verify everything, check on everything. You can ask it. We don't know what it's using for resources. It's kind of
it's a black box.
and so even if we ask for what references it's using, some of them can come up with answers, but then when you follow them through, they're bogus. They're fake resources. They aren't there. So it really behooves us to be very careful. Using it as for brainstorming, for ideas. Maybe you've thought of 5 or 6 things, and a search can bring 4 or 5 more that you hadn't even thought of. And you said, those are good ideas. I can work with those. Being sure that your human voice is in whatever you do with it next.
Yeah.
That's why
I love that as a
brainstorming is a good idea, but don't take and what it gives you, don't copy and paste and go boom, because of the biases and because of the inaccuracies. And when we think about it being used in medicine, for example, a wrong answer could be deadly. Yeah. So that's something we want to be careful of.
I love that. So I want to recap here because this is a really important one. It's great to use it for brainstorming. It can help you really understand what are people chatting about in the communities that data might have been scraped for. That's going to help you with language. That's going to help you with connection. But you do need to be aware that copying and pasting it as a goal simply for speed is highly, highly dangerous. And I think that's so important for us to just linger here for a second, because I know when we're all growing emerging entrepreneurs, we're looking for shortcuts. And I always say to people, the shortcut is not the human interaction. Use it to brainstorm. Use it to really understand the language. But then you need to assess, discern, and still have a very strong opinion that you are prepared to defend. Because that's what I also heard you say, is at the end of the day, if you take a copy and paste, you are liable potentially for all of that wrong data. And that's interesting to know when we talk about what's been scraped. A lot of companies are in hot water because they've been using this as a tool internally. And then, of course, all of their internal proprietary, copyright, highly confidential information is now out. You cannot close this door, the barn, and the horse is gone out into the pasture. So I love that you talk about this as a brainstorming, as a strategy, but be very aware. If you are copying and pasting directly, that's dangerous. But the other thing that's dangerous is if you're copying and pasting the same script questions that everybody else in your industry is using and sharing, saying, here's the 10 best questions to ask the bot. Guess what, guys? You are back lost in the sea of sameness, sounding exactly like all your peers. And the reason you went to Chat GPT in the first place is to not sound like everybody else and get lost in the sea. So be careful not thinking about how many people now sound like you, because that's dangerous in terms of your client growth.
And what we don't know is if the scraping is going to be considered legal. We know it has scraped copyrighted works.
It has copyrighted works.
But the argument that the AI online folks would say is, well, we're creating something new and different. So this is a fair use.
Yeah.
Fair use, it has to be judged on a case-by-case basis. There is no such thing as blanket fair use. So that is a touchy topic. There are 4 factors involved in fair use. What was your purpose? What's the nature of the work? Is it published? Is it factual? Is it creatively fiction? How much have you used? And what's the effect on the market? And that effect on the market has been such an important aspect for artists, visual artists. The idea of, draw me something in the style of so-and-so. Well, that could put so-and-so out of business.
Yeah.
And so that aspect is sort of the basis for all these cases that have been filed. And again, we don't know how it's going to come out.
It's going to be a long battle, because I think it's fascinating. I know, while it might be entertaining, and this is my caution too, if it's used as entertainment, embrace it as entertainment. But the moment you start to have your own image, the way you think, created by somebody else, and you don't have any eyes on it, ability to veto it, always feels to me like I can hardly breathe. Which is why to date, at least as of the day we recorded this, I have not done any AI photos. I'm a little leery of this idea of what kind of content I want to have. I said it's really important for me to, again, what do I bring to the market? How do I create value? Your value is in your original thinking, your critical thinking. And when we talk about bias, yes, everything that it's scraping has a bias, and you have bias too. And that's going to be your asset. And for your clients, they need to see your biases, because they're going to go, oh, I really see her point of view. Because if you want a really complicated business, you want to spend tons of money on ads, and you want to do really complicated click funnels, I am not the person you're going to come to, because that's not my bias. My bias is simplicity. My bias is foundational work. And so that's a really important piece of the puzzle. And when knowledge is moving so quickly, don't believe for a second that you're not going to get caught. Because I know, Barb, one of the most fascinating things you and I talked about years ago was the fact that somebody who scraped an image off of a website had a very ugly letter come from Getty's that said, you do not have access and rights to that. Here is your thousands of dollars fine. And they're like, but I'm a small business. I'm just a nobody. You're a nobody who took our image without legal right to do that.
And images are really the way that many of us are introduced to copyright in the digital age. Thinking that, oh, it's just floating around out there is dangerous. And your point that anything that we put into a prompt or anything we load into, in essence, Chat GPT, becomes part of the training stuff, so that your stuff is now in the mix. And if you have put in something very confidential, that is very bad news.
Yeah, there's a very big global player who has found themselves, I'm sure, losing their jobs over this idea that they were looking for competitive research. They put some data in there, and now it's public domain as far as it stands legally now. And as you said, this could take years before they close that door. And I'm sorry, whatever competitive advantage you were after, not only is this highly public, it's going to be very expensive, and it's a learning opportunity.
Yes. And so that in addition to don't copy and paste, always confirm that your voice is there. And copyright law in the US and most everywhere, I guess, requires that it be a human who has created the work. And so is creating prompts a human thing? We're yet to find that out. We know that the monkey who took his own selfie, no one could claim copyright to that. The monkey couldn't because he wasn't human. The human who owned the camera couldn't because he didn't click.
Didn't snap.
and that whole thing about there must be human involvement. The US Copyright Office is saying, well, if the work can stand on its own without the AI input, well, then you can register that human part. But there have been many cases in which recently people have said, well, AI was the author. Well, that didn't fly with the US Copyright Office. And I think it's more important than ever to register your copyright wherever you are. Make sure that, that the powers that be know that this is your work. The idea of putting a C in a circle on a work is sort of a heads up, but those bots aren't reading the heads up. And so you really need something that has more teeth, more legal teeth to it.
And I think that's important for every business owner. I think sometimes we think when we are a big player, that's when we'll do it, when we have legal counsel. Every business, and you'll find it on my website, you'll find it on Barb's. Barb has been in my ears for years about you need data privacy policies. You need information with terms and conditions. You need contracts. You need copyright details. And I want you to all hear from that wisdom. Even if you are just starting, you want to know that if you're creating material, your biggest asset is your intellectual property.
Exactly.
Intellectual property is a human thing, which Barb said is so important, but only if you are registering it do you have a defendability against it. It doesn't take you have to go very far in your network before I've had clients that have been in trademark conversations with, well, it was my logo, they used it, but they register it first, and now I have to create a new logo. Like, timing is very important in the world of copyright. So think about the engines you want to fuel your business. Take time to go and work with people like Barb, to talk to other people, to say, what do I need to do to protect myself? And if I am using other people's content, we're not saying don't do it. I'm saying do it within the legal bounds and give credit as a good human being as where credit is due. Barb, I want to ask you, because you have a fascinating business, but what are you finding right now to help your business grow?
Well, this whole AI and copyright thing has really caught on, and really it sort of merges the issues of copyright infringement and plagiarism together. One of the things that I heard recently was the suggestion that you put into your terms and conditions in the footer on your website, which of course we all have, right?
You should all have, peeps, you should all have.
Put in the, we put in the you can't do this, you can't do that when you visit my site. Add something about you can't use this content to train an AI bot.
Interesting.
And I said, wow. Because those terms and conditions, whether you read them or not, are a binding contract.
Okay, everyone else just got homework like I did.
Yeah,
put your hands up. You just got homework saying go back to your terms and conditions and talk about putting in clauses related to AI and how this material is not open for public disclosure without permission. I love that, Barb. I'm going to got some homework now. I love it. Barb, how do people find out about what you do? Because this is the tip of the iceberg, and we need people like you, and specifically you, to help guide us on AI, copyright, everything from pictures to the words you're using to the documents you should have in the backbone of your business to be a business that is going to be here for many, many years. How do people find you? How do they connect with you?
Well, I'm at managecopyright.com. Or even better, Barb at managecopyright.com is my email address, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone. I have an assessment that can help you determine in 10 questions where you are, where you're strong, and where there might be some gaps in your defense foundation.
And I want to encourage you, do reach out to Barb. And if you're a business owner who's working with creatives on behalf of another company, I want to highly encourage you, reach out to myself, reach out to Barb, build this bridge. because having somebody to help guide you where you're working on behalf of your clients, especially as a creative, which we of course know many of our audience members are creatives listening to this podcast, you do need to think about this and you need to lead it. So
We
you
think that we're
don't
too
get
small.
burned.
Nobody's gonna steal our stuff. Well, we want to be seen. That's why we're
That's right.
online, and so we're going to be seen. And there are people who want to steal our stuff. So
yeah, well, and we said, being copied is a huge thing of flattery, but I don't want you to lose your gold mine. And so I'm going to encourage you, Barb, it's great to have this conversation talking about what do business owners need to know about AI and copyright. This is a rapidly moving landscape. You need somebody who is leading the thinking around this. Please go connect to Barb and Gracia at managecopyright.com. It has been fantastic to have you as our guest. Guys, we will see you all on our next episode.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here.
Wonderful. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell-Rappin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrappin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.